Okay guys, so here's part 2 for the SAT August predictions. So now we're gonna start with another vertex question, and in this videos there will be reading and writing and math questions. So let's get started. The graph of y equals 2x squared plus bx plus c is shown, where b and c are constants. What is the value of b times c? So we have our parabolic graph, and our minimum is at -1 and 8. So first we're going to start by having this equation. To find the x-coordinate of the vertex, we will have the formula -b/2a. So we're going to plug that in. -b/2 times 2 equals -b/4. And we already have the value of the x-coordinate of the vertex, which is -1 right here. So we always take the x point when we have the value of the vertex. So after that we're gonna find the value of b. It's -4 here, so b will be 4. So after that we're going to plug in the y-intercept, which is when x equals to 0. So look at that picture. So the y-intercepts occur at 0, -6. So we're going to plug in again in this equation right here. We're going to plug in x equals to 0. So that means that the y value is going to be -6. So what we have left is 0 plus c equals to -6. So c is going to be equals to -6. So the question is asking us to find the value of b times c. So we have b equals 4 times c equals -6. So that's going to be -24. Okay, so for the second question, it's about circle. So our circle is in the xy plane, has its center at -1, 1. Line T is tangent to the circle at the point 5, -4. Which of the following points also lies on line T? So to get the basic understanding, we're going to draw out the circle. So the center is at -1, 1 here. And for the line tangent, we're gonna 5 here, 4 here. For the line tangent, right here, at 5, -4, -1, 1. So firstly, we're going to have the equation of y equals mx plus b. So these two are this line perpendicular to the center of the circle, which means that its slope is going to be the opposite reciprocal of the slope of this line. So firstly, we're going to find the slope. y2 -4 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is going to be -5 over 6. So we're plugging the equation -5 over 6x plus b. I'm going to erase this so we can have more space. After that, we're going to find b. So we can plug in either of these points or this point. So I'm going to use 5, -4 to plug in this equation. So y equals -4 is Oh, never mind that. We're going to find the opposite reciprocal first. Here's 6 over 5x plus b, just for the equation of these two lines. So we're going to plug in 5, negative 4, plus b. So I'm going to plug this into our calculator. It's 5. So b is going to be negative 10. I'm going to erase this again. So y equals 6 over 5x minus 10. So to find which of these answers are the correct answer, we're going to just plug in each one and find which one are the appropriate. So 6 over 5, so for a times 0 minus 10, that's not going to be 6 over 5. So go across that. So for b, x equals 4. 6 over 5 times 4 equals 24 over 5. So that's going to be 7. So for c, we're going to plug in x equals 10. 6 over 5 times 10 equals 60 divided by 5, which is 12. So 12 minus 10 is going to be 2. So that's going to be the correct answer. For D, 6 over 5 times 11. No, that's incorrect. So the correct answer is C. Okay, so for this writing question, I'm going to read out loud. The Alvarez theory, developed in 1980 by physicist Luis Walter Alvarez and his geologist son Walter Alvarez, maintained that the secondary effects of an asteroid impact caused many dinosaurs and other animals to die blank. It left unexplored the question of whether unrelated volcanic activity might have also contributed to the mass extinctions. So firstly, in the first sentences, we have maintained that the secondary effects of an asteroid impact caused many dinosaurs and other animals to die. And for the second phrase, it contradicts this phrase by saying that it left unexplored the question of whether unrelated volcanic activity might have contributed to the mass extinction, which say that it doesn't know that if whether the volcanic activity would affect for the extinction of the dinosaurs rather than the asteroid impact. So there will have but or however. So we're going to look at the answer choice. For A, so we're going to plug that in first. Other animals to die out, but we don't have a conjunction or something to split the sentences, so that's not the answer. So for B, that's a perfect answer because we have a comma to split out these two phrases. And for C, there's no but. For D, there's no but, so the answer is. So we're going to go to SAT reading. So this is a pretty tricky question. I'm going to read it first. It may seem that the optimal strategy for an animal pursuing prey or escaping predators is to move at maximal speed, but the energy expense of exploiting full speed capacity can disfavor such a strategy even in escape context, as evidenced by the fact that blank. So when we look in the graph, it is shown that the graph categorizes the data for both pursuing and escaping by the number of species using 30 to 39% of maximal speed over here, and 40 to 49%, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, 80 to 89, and 90 to 100. So we can see that most of the lizard use 90 to 100 for escaping predators. So let's look at answer A. Most lizard species use about the same percentage of their maximal speed when escaping predation as they do when pursuing prey. This is incorrect because the data in the graph isn't organized in a way of comparison for the percentage of maximal speed used when escaping predation with the percentage used when pursuing prey. So that's not going to be the answer. So for B, multiple lizard species move at an average of less than 90% of their maximal speed while escaping predation. That is the best answer because it describes the data from the graph that actually completes this text discussion of lizard species for maximum speed when escaping predators. So according for text, moving at maximal speed requires so much energy that it's not always an effective strategy for animal even when they escape predators. The graph displays data on the average percent of maximal speed used by lizard species while escaping predators or pursuing prey. So it said that for this escaping graph here, most of the lizard species move at an average of less than 90%. So that's going to be the answer. So for C, most lizard species use on average 90 to 100% of their maximum speed while escaping predation than use of any other percentage of their maximum speed. That is true in the graph. The percentage for the category which the largest number of species using the maximal speed while escaping is 90 to 100%. However, this data doesn't complete the text here, which is concerned instead of how animals are discouraged from using maximal speed even when escaping predators because of the amount of energy required to do it. So that's not going to be the answer because it doesn't complete the text. So for D, at least 4 lizard species use on average less than 100% of their maximal speed while pursuing prey. So that's incorrect because the data from the graph pertain to maximal speed while pursuing prey and therefore don't complete the text discussion of lizard species use of maximal speed while escaping predation. So that's not going to be the answer. So the answer is going to be B. Okay, so we're going to go on with another reading question. Art collectives like the United States and Vietnam-based collective, the Propeller Group or Cuba's Los Carpinteros, are groups of artists who agree to work together, perhaps for stylistic reasons or to advance certain shared political ideals or to help mitigate the cost of supplies and studio space. Regardless of the reasons, art collectives usually involve some collaboration among the artists. Based on a recent series of interviews with various art collectives, an art journalist claims that this can be difficult for artists who are often used to have sole control over their work, which quotation from the interviews best illustrate the journalist's claim. So we're going to need to find an answer that says that the arts journalist having a difficult time for artists who are often used to have sole control over their work, which means that they are used to work alone and they have to adapt to working together. So let's start with A. The first collective I joined included many amazingly talented artists, and we enjoyed each other's company, but because we had a hard time sharing credits and responsibility for our work, the collective didn't last. So this answer says that we had a hard time sharing credits and responsibility, which means that there are a portion of people who works alone and there are some people who doesn't. So it's hard to share credit and responsibility, which correctly implies how artists who are often used to have control over their work have difficult time for this. So that's going to be the answer. So for B, we work together, but that doesn't mean that individual projects are equally work of all of us. Many of our projects are primarily the responsibility of whoever originally proposed the work of the group. That is incorrect because the quotation indicates that the members of a collective are able to collaborate together and have agreed to have a fair way to manage their responsibilities. This doesn't demonstrate the challenge of sharing control among members of a collective, so that's not going to be the answer. So for C, having worked as a member of a collective for several years, it's sometimes hard to recall what it was like to work alone without the collective support, but that support encourages my individual expression rather than limited. It does say that it's hard to recall what it was like to work alone, but in this last sentence, it said that that support encourages my individual expression. So the one saying this is it's not said about collaborating with other. So that's not going to be the answer. And for D, sometimes an artist out from outside the collective would choose to collaborate with us on a project, but all of those projects fit within the larger themes of the work the collective does on its own. Okay, so that is incorrect because the quotation doesn't address any challenges of sharing control among members of a collective. It simply indicates that artists sometimes choose to work with a collective without having to have a member. Therefore, the quotation doesn't illustrate the journalist's claim. So that's not going to be the answer. So the final answer is A. Okay, so another reading question. On painter William H. Johnson's return to the United States in 1938 after a decade in Europe, his style underwent an abrupt transformation, turning away from the landscapes painted in an expressionist style, a style that often involved using fluid, distorted shapes and thick, textured brush strokes to express the artist's subjective experience of reality. Johnson began painting portraits of black Americans in a bold new way, evocative of African sculpture and of American Scandinavian folk art. These portraits feature flat, deliberately oversimplified figures in a vibrant but limited color palette. Which choice best describes the function of the underlined sentence in the text as a whole? So this underlined sentence talks about how his style underwent an abrupt transformation. Here. And let's see the answer choice. For A, elaborates on the previous sentence statement about a transitional moment in Johnson's artistic career. That is perfect for saying how his style underwent a a transformation. That says like turning away from a landscape painted an expressionist style, which is a different style that Johnson began painting portraits of Black American in a bold new way. So A is going to be the answer. For B, it provides information about Johnson's travel in support of a claim about his artistic influences, which is advanced in the following sentence. This underlined sentence didn't say about his travel, like at all, so that's not going to be the answer. For C, it recounts a moment in Johnson's personal life that enabled the success of his subsequent career, which is summarized in the following sentence. This doesn't actually recount a moment in his personal life, but actually talks about how his artistic style went through a transformation, so that's not going to be the answer also. For D, it presents evidence that calls into question the previous sentence characterization of Johnson's artistic development. It thus says that Johnson's artistic development is stated, but it doesn't say that like for characterization of Johnson's. It doesn't say about Johnson's characterization, but it just says about his transformation of his artistic style. So that's not going to be the answer also. So the final answer is A. Okay, so we're going to return back to our math questions. So for the question, 8x squared plus 112px plus 8y squared minus 64py equals to negative 448p squared. In the xy plane, the graph of the given equation is a circle. The length of the radius of the circle is np, where n and p are positive constants. What is the value of n? So this is a pretty easy question if you plug in decimals. So firstly, I'm going to plug the equation first. 8x squared plus 112 p, you can type p, and then the decimals will automatically assign a p value for you. Minus 64 py equals to negative 448 p squared. And then we press enter, and that decimals will assign us p equals to 1. So our center, we can see that it is at negative 7 and 4 right here. So I'm going to type it out also. Negative 7 and 4, that's our center. So our radius, we can see that it is 3. Radius equals 3, so I'm going to write here. And np is going to be our radius. So that's np equals to 3. So we already have our p value, which is n times 1 equals to 3. So we have n equals 3. So that's our answer. But we can also plug in any different integer in here, for example 2. So we'll also have the same value. We plug in our point in the middle. Okay, so for the next question is a math for model 2 question. So I've seen a lot of people struggling for this question, so I'm gonna solve it right now. For an electric field passing through a flat surface perpendicular to it, the electric flux of the electric field through the surface is the product of the electric field strength and the area of the surface. So firstly, we're gonna draw the surface. Change the pen. So the surface and the electric field perpendicular. So the product of the flux is going to be equals to the product of the strength and the area, the surface. So a certain flat surface consists of 2 adjacent squares. I'll change the color. Where the side length in meter of the larger square is 3 times the side length in meter of the smaller square. So we have the side length of the smaller square is going to be x. Okay, so I'm gonna label here. The larger square's length is going to be 3x. Electric field with a strength of 29 volts per meter. So 29 volts per meter, which is the strength, and the total electric flux of the electric field is 640 volts per meter. Okay, so what is the electric flux in volts per meter of the electric field through the larger square? So firstly, we're going to calculate the area of the smaller square and the larger square, which is x squared plus 3x bracket square. So we're gonna have x squared plus 9 x squares, we have 10x squares. So in order to find the flux of the total of the two squares, we already have 4,640 equals to the strength, which is 29, times the area, which is 10x squares. So we're gonna put in the calculator 4,640 divided by 29. It's gonna be 160. So x squared is going to be 16. X equals 4. So we have the side length of the smaller square will be 4. So next we're going to calculate the side length of the larger square, which is 3 times 4, to be 12. And the area is we're gonna have 12 times by itself. We're gonna have 144. And again, we're gonna use the equation to find the flux, the electric flux of the larger square. We're gonna have the strength of 29 times 144. We have the final answer of 4,176. Okay, let's go on with another math question. 2x plus 3y equals 7 is the first equation. The second equation is 10x plus 15y equals 35. For each real number r, which of the following points lies on the graph of each equation in the xy plane for the given equation for a given system? So for the first equation, we can take each of these multiplied by 5, so they can match all the numbers below in the second equation, which shows that the equation are the same for both of the two equations, which means they're in the same line, which has infinite value. So let's see for letter A, which is r over 5 plus 7 and negative r over 5 plus 35. We can give a number for r equals to 5 so that we can easily calculate them. So 5 over 5, 1 plus 7 is going to be 8. So 8 and 5, negative 5 over 5, negative 1 plus 35 equals to 34. So we'll plug these into our equation. Let's plug this into the first equation. So we're gonna have 2 times 8 plus 3 times 34. 2 times 8 plus 3 times 34. That's not going to be 7. So this answer is wrong. So for the next one, we're gonna plug r equals 5 again. So we're gonna have negative 15 over 2 plus 7 over 2. We're going to have 8. Negative 15 plus 7 is going to be negative 8 over 2, which is negative 4. And r is of course to 5, so this will be our coordinate. Then we're gonna plug in again to the first equation. We have 2 times negative 4 plus 3 times 5. So negative 8 plus 15 is going to be 7. So B is the correct answer. So for C, I'm going to check all of these answers. So r equals 5. 2 times 5 is 10 over 3. 7 over 3 is going to be 17 over 3. So we're going to have the coordinate of 5, 17 over 3. We're going to plug in again. 2 times 5 plus 3 times 17 over 3 equals to 2 times 5 is 10 plus 3 times 17 over 3. It's going to be 27, which is not 7, so C is also incorrect. So for D, 5, negative 3 times 5, negative 15 over 2 plus 7 over 2. It's going to be negative 8 over 2. It's negative 4. We have 5, negative 4. I'm going to plug in 5 again. 2 2 times 5 is 3 times negative 4. So we're going to have 10 plus negative 12 is negative 2. So D is also incorrect. So the final answer is B. Okay, so another math question. For the function f for each increase in the value of x by c, where c is the positive constant, the value of fx increases by the value of 27. Which of the following equivalent forms of the function f displays 1 over c as a coefficient of x? So we're going to recognize the starting value first. So that's going to be 48, because for a, b, c, and d, if we plug in x equals to 0, and so every value to the power of 0 is going to be 1, so it's going to be 48. And the value of fx increases by a factor of 27. So with that 48 times 27, that will be equal to 1296. After that, we go to let 1296 equals to 48 multiplied by 3 to the power of x as a coefficient. So we're going to need to find a value of x that matches the value that will be equal to 27. So let's see. For a times 3 to the power of 1/2 times x. So that's not going to be 27. So we cross it out. And for b, fx equals to, I'm going to annotate so you guys can see. So for b, fx equals to 48 times 3 to the power of 3. So that's going to be 27, and 1/6 of x. So we're going to put x equals to 6. So that's going to be 1 here. So for 8 times 27, this one is the best answer. For C is incorrect because it is 9. For D is 27 to the power of 1/3 times x. So final value is, so the final answer is. Okay, to another math question. This is a triangle question. So in the figure shown, AD equals 121 over 3. So 121 over 3 here. And 11 square root of 130 over 3. So right here. 130 over 3. So what is the length of DC? So it's asking to find this length for DC. So firstly, we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem in order to find the length of BD. So I'm going to write out the steps. So we're going to have the hypotenuse line side AB squared minus length of AD 121 over 3 squared, and we square root all of them together. So we plug in the calculator. And then we're going to have the answer of 11 for BD. Okay, so how do we find the value of DC if we only have this value? So we have what we call the altitude theorem. So this theorem includes the fraction of only these sides, BD, AD, and BD and DC, which doesn't include the hypotenuse. So I'm going to write out so you guys can understand. So we have BD over AD equals to DC over BD. So that's our theorem. So we're going to plug the values in. So BD we have 11 over AD we have 121 over 3 equals to DC, which we didn't have, equals over BD, which is also 11. So let's calculate the value of DC. So we plug it into the calculator. So we're gonna have the value of DC equals to 3. So 3 is going to be our answer. Okay, for our final math question, let's get started. 3x plus p times 5x squared minus 45 times 2x squared minus 16x plus 6p equals 0. In the given equation, p is a positive constant. The sum of the solutions to the equation is 20 over 3. What's the value of p? Okay, so we are practicing using decimals a lot, so this question we're gonna use decimal the most. So okay, for 5x squared minus 45, we let that equals to 0. It's gonna be 5x squared equals 45 and x squared equals 9. This equals 3, negative 3. If we add those solutions together, we're gonna get 0. So we're not going to bother with that. So let's go on to the decimals. Okay, so I have plugged these two solutions in here, 3x plus p and 2x squared minus 16x plus 6p. So firstly, I will let p equals to 2. So I know that this value of negative 0.667 and 0 is the solutions of 3x plus p, because if we plug any constant to p, the solution is going to be negative for x. So these two values, 0.838 and 7.162, is going to be the solutions for 2x squared plus minus 16x plus 6p. So when we add them together, we have the sum of 8, and we have two of these values. So if we change the value of p to 3, then there's still going to be, these two sums are still going to be 8. 1.354 plus 6.646 is going to be 8. And the only thing we'll change is going to be 3x plus p, solution for 3x plus p. Okay, so we would change the sum to 20 over 3 and p to 4. So we're going to take so they give us the sum of the solutions of 20 over 3. So we're going to take that minus by 8, which is a solution of 2x squared minus 16x plus 6p. So we're going to have x equals negative 1.3233, which is solutions to 3x plus p. Okay, so what's going to be negative 1? But it's going to be negative 1/3. So as we put 3x plus p equals to 0, we have 3x, we have p equals to 4 as we put for the value of 4. So you guys can test all from value of 2, 3 first, but I'm going to test 4 first. So we have x equals to negative 4 over 3, which is the same as the value of 20 over 3 minus 8. So for our p value, we're going to have the p value of 4 in order to satisfy this, so the sum of these solutions.